Steve Pelletier Yinishe, Maideshkijni initially, Billigana Basashin, Kinlachitni Dashache, Billigana Dashanala. Welcome back to Resball, where we're going to talk about Dylan Harper, my number 2 overall prospect. Just get that out of the way. I think for most people, 1 and 2, like it's anticlimactic this year. It's been Cooper at 1. It's been Dylan at number 2. Jumbo scoring guard. You hear more of my thoughts of like positional and the role and everything, but absolutely no doubt number 2 overall prospect. Anybody that has the number 2 pick should take Dylan Harper. And this year, San Antonio Spurs got number 2 overall pick. I don't know if they'll keep it, but even there, he's going to work and he's a great player. So let's get into Dylan Harper right about now. So Dylan Harper, if you did not know, is the son of Ron Harper, multi-time champ with the Bulls, played with Michael Jordan, helped win him his second couple titles, second go round. He's also the brother of Ron Harper Jr., who's in the NBA right now with my Pistons on the G League team. Kicked around there. Rutgers scoring legend, Ron Harper Jr. also. I mean, that dude was a bucket in Rutgers and in college. Just if there was a shot, he took it and made a lot of those. Also, let us not forget his mom, Maria, also played in college for New Orleans and is currently an assistant coach at Don Bosco Prep High School, Don Bosco Preparatory High School in New Jersey. Dylan Harper is from Franklin Lanes, New Jersey. So this is a basketball-obsessed family, which we'll come to here in a minute. And let it not be lost that moms is also an integral part of Ron Harper, or Dylan Harper. I mean, this is going to happen. Dylan Harper's journey and Ron Harper, like their mom, is a very big part of this. This is where a lot of times, too, I think this gets lost in the process, is when your dad or your, mom is a WNBA player, dad is an NBA player. Like the other parent kind of gets thrown aside and not talked about enough. But yes, his mom also good college player and as a coach, which I think that to me more plays out in the way that Dylan Harper plays. And digging a little bit more in the background and stuff, I'm like, okay, I can clearly see his mom's influence on him in his game. Again, Ron Harper. Come on, Steve. Dylan Harper. Sorry, Dylan and Ron. Dylan Harper went to Don Bosco Preparatory High School in New Jersey. As a junior, put up 24.9 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and 2 steals per game as a junior. So, Mr. New Jersey basketball, all the accolades there. That's why people are immediately like, can't wait for this kid to graduate. Can't wait for this kid to be in the NBA. Again, it's the kid of an NBA star, kid of an NBA champion. You already know what that is. As I've stated many, many times, I kind of hate the bloodlines talk because it does talk about people more like racehorses and things like that. Anytime blood gets mixed into the conversation and like, oh, look at their genetics, it's just an icky conversation to me. But a lot of scouts count that stuff. And I do understand it from the perspective of, hey, you have insight and you have access to training, to how to prepare, to know what it's like that a lot of other guys don't have. So again, when you're scoring 24.9 points per game as a junior and your dad's Ron Harper, yeah, people are going to get excited about you. And then as a senior at Don Bosco Preparatory High School, 22.4 points per game for Dylan Harper, 5.7 rebounds, 2.7 assists per game. So still fantastic production, even if it's not as gaudy as what happened as a junior. Speaking of production, let's see what Dylan Harper did in his one season here at Rutgers in college basketball. Of course, went there with Ace Bailey, which we'll get back to here in a future episode. At Rutgers, Dylan Harper put up 19.4 points per game, pulled in 4.6 rebounds, dished out 4 assists, had 1.4 steals, 0.6 blocks per game, and then 2.4 turnovers per game. Shooting splits for Dylan Harper are 57.4% from 2-point range, 33.3% from 3-point range, and then 75% from that free throw line. All of this translates into a 58.7% true shooting percentage. Fantastic. Especially for the number 1 guy, shot creator, putting up 19 points per game, 19.4. Yes, definitely, absolutely. Look at that usage, 29%. Again, that's exactly what you want to see, as you heard me say in previous episodes. If your major usage hovering around 30% and you have 58% true shooting percentage, You know how to play your game. You don't care what the defense is. They can't stop you because 58% true shooting or above is good. And if you're that high usage, you're the number one option. You're the guy with the ball in the hands most of the time. That screams to me, yeah, you definitely have lead NBA potential as a scorer. Couple other things to look at: 27.1% assist percentage, very good as well. And then 12.7% turnover rate, also very good. Turnover rate's not really high. The assist percentage is almost as high as the usage rate, which is exactly what you want to see. An elite ball handler, if you look at the numbers, to 117 assists to 70 turnovers. Again, nitpick any of the top guys. I'm going to nitpick because it's like, we know you're good. Can you be great? This is where it'll be a recurring thing for me with Dylan Harper. I think he's a fine playmaker, but I don't know that he's necessarily like the playmaker that you want. I think he's a scorer first and then a playmaker secondary to that, which again is totally fine. It's just if you're turning the offense over to him and expect him to be like Trey Young or somebody that immediately is going to come in and just, dime guys out and flirting with double digit assists, I don't think that's where Dylan Harper is going to be because I think he's a scorer first and foremost. How does he score? Well, he's a big body kiddo that gets in the paint and loves to drive forward because his measurements are 6'4.5" without shoes. So he's like 6'5" ish, 6'6" ish in shoes, 213.2 pounds, and then a 6'10.5" wingspan. So great wingspan, a +6 wingspan. What you want to see: 213.2 pounds. Fantastic thing. Like I said, he uses this big body to drive in. Let's look at the shot chart. I grew up Dylan Harper with Kobe Sanders of Nevada. Boo. Remember, I'm a Lobo at heart, so boo Nevada. But Kobe Sanders, great player. We'll hear all about him next time. And then Cam Jones at Marquette. As I said with Dylan Harper here, all these guys have good assist numbers, and all these guys got the ball this year. But I think grouping them together is this idea of they're a scoring playmaker. What do I mean by that is like they score first and then that opens up their playmaking. They're not necessarily like going out there to run the offense and get everybody else set up. They're going out there to get themselves involved. They're going out there to create gravity and then do things differently. Why am I harping on this so much? One of the comps for Dylan Harper is Cade Cunningham. I'm going to cut that off. I don't think Dylan Harper's Cade Cunningham. That's not a problem though, because Cade Cunningham, for one, came in more as the playmaker. I know at Oklahoma State, he was more of a scorer. He had a really bad assist to turnover ratio, but all the background was like these double digit assists. And Montverde, like he set everybody else up. I just gave you the Don Bosco numbers. Like didn't average even 4 assists. And in high school, like who's he going to pass out to? I understand that stuff, but there's still not a record of him like super diming guys up and being like the playmaker's playmaker. 27.1% assist percentage is good. But for me, the number one thing is driving in and getting to the basket. 131 shots at the rim for Dylan Harper, sank 96 of them, 73.3%. My goodness. A guard, any guard that can shoot 70% at the rim on over 120 attempts, like you're the elite of the elite. This is the number one thing for Dylan Harper. You cannot stop him getting to the paint. You cannot stop him getting to the rim. And if you do, you're probably fouling him, which is exactly what he wants. This is also why I don't comp Dylan to Cade Cunningham. It's been one of the things that all of us Piston fans has been just driven bananas by. It is Cade's not really a free throw generator. And a lot of the way that he drives is like hook shots, scoop shots, coming to the side of the basket rather than just driving straight forward and being more of a brute. Dylan is more of a brute. Like you can't stop him from getting in there. His handle too is like sneaky. It's not flashy. It's not like Jeremiah Fears where he's quick and doing all these other things. He's like, hey, you see how I'm dribbling? I'm going to get here. And there's nothing you can do about it because I know how to use my 6'5.5", in shoes. We'll give it that, 213 pounds. Like, man, he just is a bowling ball that you cannot stop. In the paint as well, for 47.8%, 33 of 69 shots. I think he does have touch too. That's the lethal combination for a scoring guard is when you have the strength and the brute force that you cannot be stopped from getting to the rim. And you also have the touch to sink a high percentage in the paint. You have like the runner floater game. You have some turnaround shots. You can do things in the post. It's like there's no stopping that guy. Then he can do whatever he wants. Think of a combination of skills as you'll. I mean, I guess I should just give away my comp of like a Jalen Williams alongside an Emmanuel quickly and Tyrese Maxey type of dude that can get that runner floater off in the paint. Like that's super fantastic. And just, I mean, that alone probably gets you like 15 points per game. And then it really sets up the rest of your teammates. And I know I'm kind of harping on the assist numbers, but I mean, the Rutgers team, spoiler alert, not exactly like was setting the world on fire. So I imagine there's probably like 2 assists per game that were left out there in an NBA court where you have this kid that comes in and is undeniable to the paint and does have good court vision to get other guys open. Yeah. Who you want to turn the offense over to? Absolutely. The issue, of course, is the jumper. Again, number one reason why I didn't end up pulling the Cade Cunningham comp is the mid range. He just doesn't have the mid range game that Cade has, and that's such an integral part of a Cade Cunningham that makes him deadly. Because it's like, okay, he's not nailing it from three. Well, we can't speed him up, and he's just knocking down like 45-50% of his mid range shots. If you look at the simple zones, Dylan Harper only took 51 shots in the mid range for 29.4%. That's not a lot of shots, and that's a bad percentage. You look at the medium zones here, it's really on the baseline. He's not taking much. He only took 10 on the left baseline. He only took right, 3 of 6 of the right baseline. I mean, those are such small sample size. He's not getting there. He's not doing anything there. At the elbows, he took a little bit more, but even then, we've seen so many other dudes. And if you look at Kobe Sanders right here, like Kobe Sanders is just living in the mid range. We've seen so many other guys who took way more shots at that elbow. Only 20 from the left elbow, only 15 from the right elbow, 25%, 5 of 20 from left elbow, and then 6 of 15 from right elbow. Again, it's just not a lot there. And I don't think he wants to do that. And thank God. In the future, this is probably something that, depending on the team, they're going to demand of him. And especially if they want him to be the lead guy, to develop some kind of elbow jumper there, because then it does make him a 3-level scorer. We already know he's the lead in the paint and at the rim. Like, that's undeniable. He's going to do that. You can't stop him. I understand the 3-point numbers here are concerning, but listen to any other podcasts, Rafael Barlow, James Barlow, Kristen Peak, Leaf Thulin, Rich over there at Lockdown NBA Big Board, and they've tracked the difference between Dylan Harper's off the dribble jumper versus catch and shoot. He's been good on catch and shoot. He struggles off the dribble. All the no ceilings guys, again, same thing there. Anybody that brought up Dylan Harper there, they've talked about this. Look at the synergy numbers of when Dylan Harper shoots from three off the catch versus when he does it off the dribble. But that's also a concerning thing, and why I bring in the mid-range thing again. If you're the guy we give the ball to, you have to create off the dribble. That's just the thing. And then if Dylan Harper is going to be the best version of himself, he has to develop more of that dribble jumper to be able to get off anywhere, both from three and both from catch and shoot. 29.8% on above the break threes, 39 of 131 shots. That's not good. Even if you break it into the different sections of above the break, 29% from left wing, 9 of 31, 17 of 56 from top of the key. That was his best, quote unquote, one, 30.4%. And then from right wing here, he took 13 of 44, 29.5%. Again, none of those are great, but part of it is him and Ace had to basically just do everything. Nobody else on that team really became a consistent scorer in double digits. Nobody else on that team was really shooting threes. There was like 1 or 2 other guys that occasionally did, but it was Dylan and Ace taking like all the shots from three pretty much. So factor that in. And honestly, I can live with those percentages as being the primary ball handler, 29% usage guy. We've seen worse dudes in the past. I mean, Cade had some really rough spots from three there, but he shot an overall good percentage. Not to say I want to completely hand wave this off, but the context does at least give us some indication that, man, this dude had to take a lot of tough shots because a lot of people weren't being guarded elsewhere on the court. He had a bunch of grenades. He was the main grenade catcher when he was healthy on this team. And then he just didn't take many corner threes, either 8 of 12 from left corner, 66.7%, and then from the right corner, 2 of 5. Again, such a small sample size. And if you're drafting Dylan Harper, you watch all this film with him handling the ball, being a good setup man, driving to the paint, getting free throw touches. And then you're like, no, we want him to be a corner shooter. You're out of your mind. I mentioned on the free throw numbers, 41.9% free throw attempt rate, really good. I think part of it that probably could have gone up too. I know he dealt with some illness and he dealt with some injuries. I mean, that Rutgers team got decimated by illness somewhere in like January, February. It's why Dylan only played 29 games as well. So factor that in. But even as the main guy, 40%, anything over 40% free throw attempt rate is good. You're generating free throws. You're getting to the line at a good rate. The numbers on that 168 free throws. I mean, this dude lives at the line, and it's one of the main things that you're going to ask him to do coming into NBA and with that big body and his ability to get in the paint and get to the rim whenever he wants. It's like, come on, how can you not believe that's not going to translate and that's going to be the primary part of his game? And then with NBA spacing, he doesn't have to be the grenade catcher. And when he can have other teammates that can get him a little bit more catch and shoot looks, and he starts to develop that, off the dribble jumper, then you're going to be like, okay, I think this is better. It's also interesting to look at the conference numbers because the 3-point numbers go up there 34.1% as well. So that's a positive indicator. Again, I will say this until I no longer have breath to say it. In conference play, it's tougher. Those teams have more time to prepare for you. They game plan for every last single thing. They've seen all the non-conference stuff, and a lot of the teams you play twice. If you improve in conference play, that means you have the better counterpunch. You are also putting the time and the effort in to maintain, your play, and in this case, to improve. I mentioned his mom's in the introduction. This is where I really see like her influence more being a coach and being a coach for a very long time. I know she started coaching like in Chicago and then was there with him at Don Bosco. Dylan does play absolutely like a coach of like, I know where to go with the spot. Oh, I know they're game planning for me to do this, so I'm going to go to something else. Counterpuncher is how I describe it is like, okay, I know you're going to try and hit me this way. Well, I'm going to do something else to counterpunch that and to nullify your attack. Dylan absolutely does that. It's why he's number 2. I mean, if Cooper Flag didn't show primary offensive creation, Dylan would have absolutely been number 1 because a lot of people were like, I think Cooper might be only a high defensive role player, but Dylan from the very start has always been like, no, this kid knows what to do on the court. This kid really knows how to attack. And then when the defense attacks, how to counterattack that stuff. Again, I implore you, go look at the conference numbers, go look at the conference games as well. Even when fighting through injury and stuff, I think Dylan Harper did a fantastic job in those 17 games in conference play that he did end up playing. I wanted to just pause real quick. Again, go check out this article. It was in January 14, 2024. Don Bosco's Maria Harper's determination as a coach and mother serves as a driving force in her son's journey. It's from the Springfield Student. It's Springfield, Mass, I believe, or Springfield, New Jersey. I can't remember which one. I believe it's Springfield, New Jersey, probably their student-led paper written by Caitlin Kupiec, which is, I believe, how you pronounce it, who's now up in Massachusetts. I think it's like Brakefield, a sports reporter up there, but really well-written article and gives you a lot of background into, because again, Dylan's dad, that story's been told for so long, but I implore you, dive into this. Don Bosco, Maria Harper's determination as a coach and mother serves as a driving force in her son's journey, because she is just as integral to Dylan's game. And to me, I think is more of an influence on how he's able to navigate and get to his spots and be a counterpuncher in that. My comp for Dylan Harper is Jalen Williams of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, I went back and forth with the Cade Cunningham. I thought about going like older school and finding a point guard that, before you really need a 3-point shot, but I don't think that really tracks. I also think Jalen Williams is a funky type of player as well. They played him at power forward. They played him at shooting guard. And he emerged in the second season as the second leading scorer for the Oklahoma City Thunder. A good playmaker. Develop that more out. And the number one thing is just his power. Everybody remarks on Jalen Williams' power. It's why he can play power forward at like six. And he measured the exact same height at the combine that Dylan Harper did, 6'4.5 inches without shoes. He's listed at 6'6". So NBA, come on, just list Dylan Harper at 6'6" as well. Jalen Williams is listed at 220. A little bit of a disparity there. Again, Dylan's such a beast of getting into the paint that I think that's the same thing with Jalen Williams. And even Jalen Williams, like the shot looked fine. And then now it's like still average. But the whole package of the power, the average jumper, his ability as a playmaker, and the main thing is you just cannot deny this guy getting downhill, getting to the rim, getting to the paint, and generating more free throws. But even then, I'm like, I still don't feel quite like that's enough because Jalen Williams, yeah, this is the weird part about it. No slight to Jalen Williams. I mean, over 20 point per game scorer this year. I think he made all NBA as well. So it's like, it's like, why are you still like, I don't know if Dylan Harper, that's, too low for Dylan Harper. Of course, anytime you compare to somebody that's 20 over 20 point per game on a finals team, like, why wouldn't it be there? Because at the same time, the playmaking, I think the playmaking is better than a Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams is also a 3-year player, I think. Yeah, at oh man, why am I blanking? Santa Clara. Whereas Dylan Harper is a one and done, and been coached by his mom, had his dad who's a point guard as well. I think the playmaking and the vision is going to be much better than a Jalen Williams. So that is the other part about it. Is like I do think the same thing. The game, and you could probably play Dylan at a bunch of different spots. I know a lot of people listed him at point guard, but I think he could play the 1 through the 3 seamlessly with that power. And it's just more how you're going to build the rest of the roster around him. Positionless basketball. We're in that age. Like he's going to fit in fine with there. San Antonio has the number 2 overall pick. If they keep it, I mean, they still have Stephon Castle, rookie of the year. They still have De'Aaron Fox there. They still have Harrison Barnes. They still have Devin Vassell. They still obviously have with Victor Wembanyama, the next best player in the NBA, maybe the best player of all time. I mean, if all the gifts and stuff pan out like we all want them to with the defense and everything else. Like Dylan still fits in with all that stuff. He can do a lot of pick and roll, pick and pop stuff with Wembanyama. Wembanyama loves to shoot on the perimeter. Dylan gets to the rack. I mean, come on, that's a match made in heaven there. Even with a De'Aaron Fox there, like De'Aaron Fox is primary ball handler. And what I say about Dylan Harper, what has everybody said about Dylan Harper shooting numbers, is better off catch and shoot. Hey, there you go. You can play both of those guys there. And I mean, in today's NBA, there's so many offenses that operate with 2 lead ball handlers, maybe even more. I mean, look at the guys that are in the finals that got in the Western Eastern Conference finals now. Oklahoma City, even though SGA is like ball dominant, they still have the Jalen Williams. They still have the Cason Wallace. They still have Caruso, who can do some of those things. And then on the other side of the Wolves, Ant's the main guy. But then you got this old vet in Mike Conley, Julius Randle. Still got a lot of usage and still was able to do things with his ball handling and mismatch at the 4. And then with the Eastern side of things, like that Pacer team is just loaded with a bunch of different type of ball handlers. Andrew Nemhart, Pascal Siakam, obviously Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin. Like you thought he was going to be catch and shoot guy, but he came in being more of a free throw generator and things like that. And then the New York Knicks, I mean, they built their roster to combat the Celtics who won it last year. From Brunson to McHale, who got better as a ball handler, to Cat, who's been the primary option. I mean, even Josh Hart can do things on the second unit as like a primary ball handler. Dylan Harper, if he goes to the Spurs, it's going to be that same kind of thing where it's like an overabundance of riches. It might be a little bit of an issue with him and Stephon Castle since Castle really can't shoot right now. Something's got to give there between the two of them. But my ideal fit for Dylan Harper was the Raptors. I was really hoping the Raptors would have won the second overall pick because even though I really like Scotty and still want him to have the ball, Grady Dick, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Jakob Pertl, like none of those guys are a lead ball handler. And none of those guys like you really want running the show. Sure, some of them can play make, but they're not a lead guy. They're not somebody you can give the ball to and either use their scoring to generate looks or have enough of a core vision to be the guy at point guard. Whereas Dylan Harper, definitely, absolutely. And again, positionless basketball. Sure, you can play him next to an Emmanuel quickly. You can play him next to Scotty Barnes if you want, like a jumbo 1-2 funky type of lineup and do these other things. Like Dylan Harper, absolutely can fit in with just about any roster because of his catch and shoot ability. And number one thing you want to do is turn the offense over to him and let him generate those looks in the paint, let him generate those looks at the rim, let him generate all those free throws, and you're going to believe that his assist numbers are going to improve once he's not on a Rutgers team where guys weren't hitting enough shots and you're in NBA spacing. And you're going to knock down your open shots because guess what? All these other guys are actually being covered. Again, Dylan Harper, my number 2 overall pick this year. Everybody's number 2 overall pick. Cannot say enough good about the young man. Basketball obsessed family from his dad to his mom to his brothers. What more do you need from the young man? I'm intrigued to see where he goes, though, because I'm of the mindset that I really don't think number 2 and number 3 are going to stay with their current teams, with Giannis potentially being available out there, with the KD probably getting traded again. It just seems too enticing, right? For those teams that don't necessarily need to take a young guy to take time to develop, that are ready to compete right now. Why wouldn't you trade it out? So intriguing to see if Dylan Harper does end up in San Antonio. If he does, though, man, he's going to be living the dream with Wembanyama there. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to us, tuning in. We'll catch you next time. I'm going to